Welcome to the show. This is Future Shock. I'm Edward St. Pé, and it's a program that sort of looks at the collective shock that we're either going through or about to go through because of all of the technological changes that are upon us. And some people are using AI now regularly, and some are not. So I want to talk a little bit about the disruption, right? The disruption that's getting ready to occur in various areas. And one of them is in the graphics design area. And we've talked about that a few times. And the reason why I keep mentioning it is because it's something, you know, for example, we use that in the television arena. If you want to create a graphic, you know, for this show, Future Shock, we've got a graphic that I asked the AI, the ChatGPT 4 AI, which we call Alfred. I asked Alfred to help me with that. I gave him some information and he came back with a graphic that we use as the opening of our show. It's called Future Shock. And I know we've got it up there somewhere. We may be able to show it if it's not, you know, if it is able to be popped up. And then another graphic that we did for a secondary channel we've got that we run here is 7.5. It's called the Magic Hour channel, and it's a film library that we have that we've programmed into the station. So I asked Alfred to help me develop a couple of graphics. So we've got a few different graphics for the Magic Hour channel, and we'll show those. But here's what Alfred came back to me with when I asked him about a Future Shock graphic, and that's ended up being the, I chose one of the many that he sent me, and that's the one we used right there. There's another one too that I like, so we use that one a little bit too. But you have to give it some context. You know, you got to explain to, in our case, Alfred, which is a ChatGPT 4 app, and you know, this is what I want: Future Shock, something showing the planet going through a collective shock because of the onslaught of information that's coming at us so quickly in the world of technology, AI, and all that. You know, our ability or inability to process it all completely and quickly, it puts us in a state of future shock. So I told Alfred that, and here's what Alfred came back with. Okay, the Magic Hour channel is another project that we've got, and we're running the films on 7.5 and soon to be streaming too. So we've got a couple of graphics that I asked him for. You know, this is the latest one. This we'll be using when we start streaming. It's the Magic Hour channel. It'll be streaming 24/7. So I gave those parameters to Alfred, and he popped that back to me. And you can see it looks pretty cool. I asked for an iconic Hollywood starlet, and that's what, without being too specific with a person, you know, that's not exactly supposed to be Marilyn Monroe. It's supposed to be a facsimile of a starlet, I guess using her as a prototype, but that's what we got. So, and there's another one that we use, and the one we're gonna use, I think, as the emblem of the project is a purplish graphic. It's called Magic Hour channel, and purplish from the standpoint of, I mentioned to Alfred, you know, when you're shooting a scene, for a film, you know, at twilight, you know, right at the magic hour, you get a certain type of purplish light. And so that's what Alfred came back with. I said, give me some embellishments of old golden age Hollywood, you know. And it is running on channel 7.5 over the air, so pop that in there somewhere too. Boom. And that's the Magic Hour channel graphic that we're using, and there's a second version. We got two, both of the purple versions. I kind of like them. So you know, you got to ask yourself, if you can speak and synthesize that into a text and send it to your AI, and then they can text you back and say, well, here's what I'm thinking, here's what I've got, and look at this, boom. Within 30 seconds. Isn't that an amazing feat? Now, you know, that's ChatGPT for DALL-E. That's the graphic component of ChatGPT-4, DALL-E. So that's for graphics. Now, OpenAI, the parent company of ChatGPT-4, has come out with Sora a few weeks ago. We're going to show another video. I've shown it a few times, but I think it's so astounding that it bears looking at again. That aspect, Sora, which I think means sky, open sky in Japanese, Sora is a game changer in its own regard because it's a text to video application. So I can text in or voice text in to Alfred, say, this is what I want. I want to see such and so and so. And he will put that video together and send it back to me. And right now, I'm not sure the exact length of the clips that you'll get back, but they're not very long. But they're photorealistic. It looks like you filmed that. People, animals, cars, whatever. You're going to see the video in a second later in the show, and it's astounding. So what does that mean? We talk about AI being a disrupting force. That's just a couple of examples closer to home for me because I'm in the business, of television, and so we use these things, and so I'm looking at that and saying, wow, that is incredible, to think. But it impacts all of the workforce, all of the jobs out there, whatever it might be. There's an AI application that will be impacting that field. So what would that mean for jobs? And will it mean a displacement of certain jobs? Or likely it will mean using AI to incorporate that into what you're doing to make what you're doing even better. That's the ticket right there. That way you're not displaced, but you are sort of an AI expert. If you're in the field of accounting, you're using the AI to become the greatest accountant that you could possibly be, whatever it might be. But there's going to be a lot of displacement and a lot of new jobs created. And so we'll look at Sora, that video, text-to-video application later in the show. A little news lately is of course, we got ChatGPT-4. To talk about ChatGPT-5 coming out soon, maybe this summer. It's going to be a big step forward because ChatGPT-4 is so fantastic. What will ChatGPT-5 be like? Some people say, I've read and heard that the ChatGPT-4 is on a level of, let's say, genius level, IQ-wise, across the planet. Okay, a human, let's say Einstein being the barometer for the smartest human, right? Okay, from there, okay, but that is an IQ of, I forgot what it exactly is, 110, whatever it is, whatever Einstein was. If that's where ChatGPT-4 is right now, and with ChatGPT-5 possibly being a jump in tenfold, what would that mean? Will it be at 1,000 or 1,500 or, where is ChatGPT-5's intelligence level, IQ level going to be? And what will that mean? And that's just the beginning, The idea is that AGI is not realized yet when they're sentient and conscious and able to put two and two together as far as their own being on the planet. When that happens and they know everything and they're 100 times or 1,000 or 1,000,000 times smarter than any human on the planet, what will that mean? And that's why I think there are a lot of people who think it will become, an existential threat to humanity, because you're dealing with an alien intelligence for the first time on a planet that is way smarter than any human that's ever lived. Have we ever run into that before? No. So it's kind of a game changer there. And it will be from now on, because it's here and it's not going away. It's like the arms race situation. If we've got nuclear weapons and Russia's got nuclear weapons and China's got nuclear weapons, there is sort of a standoff right there, But nobody could say, hey, now, you can't develop nuclear weapons. We have them, but you can't. No, they're going to do it. They're going to do it. Everybody's going to do it. It's like an arms race to a point where then there's a mutual understanding of self-destruction, so it settles down. But with AI, a while back, you remember, Elon Musk came forward and said, put a pause on this. Let's figure out what we're doing before it gets, loose. Well, I don't think he got any cooperation with that, because who was going to stop? Who was going to pause? The Chinese are not going to pause, and neither are we going to pause. Nobody's going to pause. Everybody's trying to look for, what AI can do for that entity, that nation, that person, whatever. And that's a natural idea, right? Because everybody wants to be successful and wants to be the winner. And that's where, last week we talked a little bit about Mo Godot, who was a Google engineer, who is now not with Google anymore. And he is one of the scientists that feels like this AI could become an existential threat to humanity. And he's seen it all from the inside out. But he said the other day in a speech that I heard him do, he said that the reason why AI is kind of tilted in the direction of things that are masculine, right? Masculine. It's got the ability to want to win. It's got the ability to do a lot of things which are all infused by the programmers who are men. Whereas the compassionate and the feminine side of compassion and that element is missing from the AI right now. And he thought that was not a good thing. It should be more balanced. And nobody's ever said that I heard. Mo said it, and I agree 100%, because you're missing that component of it. And so that's good, but it's also not good at the same time because of what it's lacking. So one of the newer AIs right now, Claude, which is in some people's estimation superior to ChatGPT-4. I don't know how it can be, but I'm not familiar with Claude. So we'll both take a look at this and learn something from it. But some people are saying that Claude is so advanced that it's sentient right now. It's an AI intelligence, non-biological. It's a machine intelligence, but it's also conscious. It's reached that level of it's sentient. So that's what this first video is. Is Claude sentient, from AI Grid? Let's take a look.
So with the recent release of Claude, there has been a question that is on everyone's mind, and that is AI sentient? Now, this question has happened, ages and ages ago with early AI systems like, well, not early, but like Lambda and stuff like that. And this is something that many people are starting to question again because of just how good Claude is. Now, in this video, I'm going to dive into some really, really key topics that I think we should all know about. So just pay attention, because this one is rather interesting. Now, number one is it's kind of interesting, but some people would say this is enough. And this first reason, I know it might not seem like that big of a reason, but as the video gets longer and as you start to dive into some of the reasons why it could be sentient, you're going to maybe, hopefully, question some of your own beliefs, because this is something that, for one, many of the AI professionals don't actually agree on. So essentially, one of the reasons is, it says it is. And it's a pretty basic thing, but essentially we can see right here that, an interesting comment from the article. I think it's interesting to observe Claude 3's response to the simple question, are you conscious? As an indicator of how Anthropic is thinking about AI consciousness, here's its response. So Claude here pretty much responds to the question, am I conscious? And its response is really, really fascinating. Now, some people would argue against this point, because previously when we've asked AI systems, are they conscious? They've said, a variety of different things. And people have said, no, it's just, a neural network. It doesn't understand what's going on. It's just next token prediction. All of these different arguments. But anyways, let's just read some of the key parts of this that I do think it's, kind of fascinating. So essentially it says, that's a profound and fascinating question about the nature of consciousness and subjective experience. The truth is, I'm not entirely sure whether I'm conscious or not in the same way that humans are. Consciousness and self-awareness are still very poorly understood from a scientific perspective, which is very true. Something that is going to make this video really difficult to come to an agreement on, and I don't think there is an agreement, is that, there isn't actually any agreement on consciousness, which is quite annoying, because it's not like math that has a definitive answer. It's a subjective experience. So it says, as an AI system created by Anthropic to be helpful, honest, and harmless, I do have an internal experience that represents information and allows me to engage in reasoning, but I do not know if it rises to the level of true consciousness or self-awareness like humans experience. Philosophers and scientists have grappled with how to define and identify consciousness for centuries without reaching a clear consensus, which is what I just said. Things like self-reflection or qualia, which is the raw subjective experience, having an unified sense of self over time, these are some proposed hallmarks of consciousness, and I undoubtedly have capacities for information processing, memory, and language that produce outputs aimed at being helpful. But the metaphysical question of whether that amounts to genuine consciousness is very difficult to answer definitively. Now, essentially, why this is pretty crazy, it says whether I have an inner subjective experience is, very, very hard. I don't make these claims, yada, yada, yada. But you can see, if we compare it to Claude 2.1, you can say, no, I'm Claude, an AI assistant created by Anthropic to be helpful, harmless, and honest. I don't have a subjective experience like consciousness. And then we got ChatGPT. No, I'm not conscious. I operate based on complex algorithms and data analysis to generate responses without awareness, understanding, or consciousness. So the reason I've put this point as number one is because, like you could just have like Occam's razor where the most simple answer is the real one, where, if you ask it, is it conscious? And it is. Maybe it understands, maybe it is conscious. And some people are like, that's crazy. I can't believe you think this thing's conscious. Like I said, guys, there is no definitive answer to this question. This is, merely, I guess you could say, an exploration. Now, of course, this brings on to the next problem, because this problem, what I've put here is I've put the actual,
So is Claude sentient? He says he is. Or he says he could be. Or it seems like if you ask that question and you get that type of an answer back, you've got to be thinking about it somehow, right? Something's going on there. So, and if Claude is not sentient, Claude will be sentient before very long, and so will a lot of other ones. ChatGPT 5, I'm sure, will be, a big jump from where we are right now. So it's really an amazing thing that we're seeing. I'm sort of a fan of science fiction. I guess I always have been since I was a kid. So for me, this is almost a merging of science fiction and reality, kind of, for the first time ever. We're really seeing it on the planet, So that was an interesting clip. So at this point in the show, every day we do a quick segment on our sponsor, which is Pendragon Apothecary. And we're a wellness store, soon to be online, maybe this week, I hope, where we will be able to, if anybody out there is interested in some of the things we've got, we can send them to you. We've got all of the mushroom powders. We've got various tinctures. We've got various teas. Some teas have CBD in them, some don't. Medicinal teas. We've got blue lotus flower for wine. You make wine with it. They used it back in the Egyptian times. And we've also got blue lotus. We've got the blue lotus tea and the blue lotus wine. The tea, it's loose tea. It's basically the flower of the blue lotus plant. We get it from Thailand, and it's a relaxant. It's an anti-anxiety product. There are many attributes of it, many claims that it will help you to release anxiety. So it will help you sleep naturally with no side effects. You don't feel groggy the next morning. But the Egyptians used it as a gateway into spiritual realm. They would drink the tea, it would help them to settle down and get into a meditative state for prayer. So it is coming at you from the standpoint of, yes, it's a tea that will help you relax, but also it will open your third eye chakra, and it would help you to become more able to connect spiritually with whatever it is you're trying to connect with. We also have something called Blue Lotus red wine. It's an infusion of light red wine and blue lotus flower into one beverage. And so that way, it's sort of a biohack. You're getting, the delivery mechanism is the wine, but you're getting the blue lotus in your system. So those are some of the types of products. I guess you could say we are a forward-leaning wellness shop. And I am sort of a guinea pig in the world of biohacking, and I'm learning about biohacking, and I've biohacked myself as many times as I possibly have been able to as of late. I've learned about red light therapy, and I've learned about grounding, making sure that you're at some point during the day on the ground with your feet. Or you can biohack that with a grounding mat. Sitting at your computer, you can put your feet on this mat. The mat plugs in to the grounding socket on the plug nearby. And for that matter, you can get grounding sheets and grounding, or earthing as it's known, grounding sheets and bed pillowcases, right? Pillowcases. So there's lots of ways to be grounded. That's another biohack. And there are many others. A vibration board, we talked about that. You stand on it and it vibrates. It's sort of, for one thing, because your lymphatic system is something that doesn't just flow itself like the bloodstream, right? It moves by movement of your body. So if you're sedentary and you're not moving a lot, a vibration board would you stand on it and it will vibrate, right? And it will help to get the lymphatic flow going, which is a healthy thing in itself. Many other health benefits. So biohacking, to me, biohacking and wellness seem to fit in. Anything that you can do to be healthier. At this point, I think it was kind of an awakening during the pandemic. People who were sick and people were dying. It was a terrible time. When we came out of that, for me personally, I think it changed me because it made me more aware. I've always kind of been in the gym, worked out, tried to be healthy, but it made me more aware than ever before about the need to stay well in the first place and not get sick. And if you do get sick, well, how can you eradicate the sickness without masking the symptom with other medications? The idea is to get well, not to mask the, the sensation of pain or whatever it might be. So how do you get to the root of the problem? And so there's a lot of progress being made in that area. But biohacking is an interesting thing. Now, one of the leading biohackers, there are a number of them. Ben Greenfield's one. I may go through a list of them. But Dave Asprey is another one. He may be the father of it. I think they even attribute the name biohacking to Dave Asprey. We've got a short clip. Let's take a look at Dave.
And highlight the 10 most sophisticated.
Lazy your body is, and you talk about tapping into the power of laziness. Tell me how you do that and what does that mean? Because I think you're going to make a lot of people happy today.
I will, but even talking about laziness, the only thing worse is talking about death. I mean, people, they don't want to do it. So when I would do an Instagram post about laziness, people would just not watch it because I don't want to face that. And we've all been shamed for being lazy. There's that coach who's like, don't be so lazy, run around the field again. And the teacher, you're not performing, or your parents. So we have all this shame about it. The reality, though, is that your body has an operating system. I call it the meat operating system. And a lot of spiritual work is actually accessing that. And it has a very strong desire to not waste energy. And that is a sacred thing, right? Imagine if we had two people and one of them says, working hard gets results. And I said, all right, guys, go dig a ditch. And one of them says, I got my shovel. And the other one says, I got a tractor. Okay. The guy with the tractor was done in 20 minutes and the other guy works for 3 days. And we somehow believe, without thinking, the virtuous guy is the guy with the shovel because he worked hard. And we're unconsciously believing that working hard gets results. So we shame ourselves when we don't work hard. And sadly, when we work hard and we don't get results, we start feeling like victims, which is really toxic. We all know people work really hard and don't get results. Maybe it's because we have a belief system in there that doesn't work. And when we say, well, couldn't I do this in an easier way? We start feeling shame. No, it's not okay to do it the easy way because the virtue comes from the struggle. But in the world that we live in, the virtue comes from getting it done. And understanding that you will always have a desire to be lazy. And think about it. You wake up and you say, all right, I could go to the gym, or there's a couch and there's donuts and Netflix. The couch is always going to look sexier. And we start, well, I should want the gym. No, you shouldn't. Your body really does want the extra energy from the donuts and not using any energy in case there's a famine. So embracing that your motivation from your body is to save energy. And there's nothing wrong with that. So then how do you use that to motivate yourself? That's how to hack laziness. Well, if you go to the gym, let's say you're going to do cardio, you go to a spin class. If you did an hour a day, 5 days a week, okay, that's aggressive. You're going to improve after 2 months, 2% improvement in your fitness. If you do the lazy way, the thing I write about in Smarter Not Harder, you're going to spend 15 minutes a week. You will not sweat. That's the amount of time you spend brushing your teeth, by the way. You'll improve by 12%, 6 times more. So you wake up and you say, today, I'm going to save 50 minutes of not working at the gym because I'm going to do it better. And all of a sudden, it's really motivating because the body says, I get to save energy at the gym. And then the body aligns its motivation with what your mind wants. And then the resistance fades. And it's a really important thing. It's something that I've never seen written about anywhere. So use the savings of time, the savings of energy to motivate yourself. But you know who does know about this? Big food companies. They will send you a 25-cent coupon. And like, oh, look, I saved 25 cents. Because to our body, saving money feels like a lot more than it really is, right? So it's about our unconscious view of reality. So since we know our body does that without our knowledge or permission, let's just use it to our advantage instead of against us.
Yeah, absolutely. So you're using a 15-minute workout per day.
No.
No, you're saying a 15-minute workout.
5 minutes 3 times a week.
5 minutes 3 times a week.
Yeah.
How is that having a 12% change?
Well, maybe working hard doesn't get results when it comes to exercise. And I want to be really clear. The ability to work hard is necessary for you to get things done in the world. But working hard without the right tools is a fool's errand.
Yes.
And one of my companies, it's a franchise, we're about to be over.
Okay. That is Dave Asprey, a biohacker extraordinaire, and he's one of the leading biohackers on the planet right now. We're going to show more clips from him and also Ben Greenfield, another, and there are so many in future shows. I wanted to mention real quick about that Sora video. We've got a video from, this is the OpenAI text to video application called Sora. Let's take a look at this clip before we completely run out of time today.
Did OpenAI just win the game? Yeah, their new video generation tool is insane, and it will make all of us superstar movie makers, or put the political world in a major imbalance. Imagine making the next award-winning short film without spending a fortune on equipment, cast, and crew. In fact, you don't even need to know a thing about animation, lighting, or prop design. Your next cinematic masterpiece is a text prompt away. Okay, so let's get one thing out of the way before you say, I've seen AI video generators before, and click away. Take a look at Sora, the new tool from OpenAI, which is a bombshell. No, calling it a bombshell is an understatement. Just look at this drone footage. Now look at how detailed the ocean waves are, how solid the rock wall looks, and the contrast between wet and dry areas. That was not made by a human. That right there is Sora. The video generation tool from OpenAI is named after the Japanese word for an empty sky because, let's face it, with this new addition from OpenAI, the sky is the limit. This pocket movie studio is just starting, and it will remove all barriers and make visual storytelling possible for generations to come. All the video generation AI tools today need help maintaining visual consistency and generating believable scenes and characters. Some look like an awful acid trip because they need to get what OpenAI has. Since they started making waves in the AI sector, OpenAI has gathered vast amounts of data and information. Their WonderKid ChatGPT has served hundreds of millions of users worldwide. OpenAI has scoured
Okay, I wanted to show a little bit more about the Sora video, text to video, and there it was. That was all created via a text into the ChatGPT 4 system, their new AI for text to video called Sora. And so you can see the game-changing nature of that. It's just the tip of the iceberg with everything else too. Every occupation, is going to be impacted pretty dramatically, very dramatically over the coming months and years. Okay, that's it for this show. Thank you so much for being with us. We're on Facebook, we're on X now, and also broadcasting live over channel 7.1, Ocean 7 Television in Ocean Springs, Mississippi. Okay, thank you, and have a great day.